Hi everybody, my name is Crystal Salcedo and I am the creator and founder of my team Get Fit or Die Trying. And I want to welcome you all to the challenge group, and I'm very excited that I will be coaching you and also posting and motivating and supporting you all as you do the same for one another. Now I'm going to talk about the 21-day fix because the majority of the people in this challenge group will be doing the 21-day fix or the 21-day fix extreme, which have very similar meal plans. And so I'm going to kind of go over some how to get started right, and then some tips that I have that have helped me be successful with the program. So you want to start off by going through your book. When I first got this, I really read like every single page because I was determined to be successful, to see if I actually wanted to see if this program really worked, if I put my all into it. And so I really put 120% into it, and I saw amazing results my very first round. So you'll have all your containers, and when you go through your book, it'll tell you which each container represents. So your greens are your vegetables, purple's your fruits, this is your protein, your carbs, your healthy fats, and these are like seeds and dressings. So first of all, what you want to do is you want to find your calorie level and daily container count. And so that will tell you how many containers that you will be having of each color throughout the whole day. And so you want to make sure that you do this first. And so what you're going to do is you're going to take your weight and you're going to times that by 11. And whatever you get for that, you're going to add 400 to that number. And with that number, you're going to subtract 750. And that'll come up with what your allowance is, your calorie allowance, and that'll tell you how many of each container you can have each day. And so an example is for a person that's 150 pounds, they're going to times that by 11 and you will get 1,650. So then you'll take that 1,650 and you'll add 400 to that, which will give you 2,050. Now you'll take that 2,050 and you will subtract 750, which will leave you at 1,300. So that would be the calorie intake for a person who weighs 150 pounds. And so what you'll do is you'll go in your book and it'll tell you, there's a chart in here, and it'll tell you based on how many calories you're allowed, how many containers you'll be able to have each day. Let me see if I can find it in here, the little chart. I should have had this ready. Okay. So you'll have a chart that looks something like that. And so it'll have your different levels of calories, and then it'll tell you how much of each one you can have for the day. So don't think that you won't be eating enough, because I promise you, you will. So when you do your calorie intake, if for some reason you are below 1,200, just go ahead and round it up to 1,200 and you'll follow this first column here. Now, if for some reason your calorie intake is above 2,300, you'll round it down to 2,300 and you'll be here. So this is really important because this will help you do your meal planning for the days to come as you're doing your challenge. So once you have that down, another tip would be to write down a sample like day of meals. And so what I would do when I first started was I took the chart, I kind of made my own because I didn't want to write in the book, and I actually printed some online, but these are blank. And so on the top you would write down how many you're allowed. And so right here it has meal 1, and you would fill it in. Like, okay, so for meal 1, me personally, I have my Shakeology. So I have 1 red and 1 purple. So then I mark that off. So then I know how many, and I can see how many I have left, because right here would be the total. For me, it's 4. If I have 1, I know I have 3 more to put somewhere else for other meals. So it'll have meal 1, meal 2, meal 3, you know, up to 6 meals, I believe. Yeah. And so at the bottom, you can kind of tally it up. So if you look at this person here, this is an example that they did in the book. and it tells you their allowance up here and how they spread it out. And so you want to sit there and do a day's worth of meals to kind of get an idea of like the different foods that you can have. I always, my first round of the 21 Day Fix, the night before, I would sit there and I would spend about 15 minutes. Well, time spent, because I was prepared the next day. I would get my food ready the night before and I would know exactly what I was going to have. So there was no guessing, there was no rushing, anything like that. I would do that the night before and spend that little bit of extra time in order to be successful. So I highly suggest doing that. Also, make a grocery list. In the book, it'll tell you for each container, like the different foods that you can have. So your purple, it'll give you a whole list of what you can have. Your green container, same thing. If you do that, sorry, my book's falling apart. But if you do that, you have your grocery list ready. It helps you to be successful because you know you'll have the food on hand, the food that you need. And so you're less likely to reach for something that's not healthy or something that's not part of the plan. Also, I'll give you some time-saving tips. And what I would do is I would get like a lot of ground turkey. I would cook a lot of chicken breast, and I would put spices, get it all ready, and then what I would do is I would measure it in my container. I'd fill it up, measure it, put it in a Ziploc bag. And I would do it until I had nothing left, and I would put it in the freezer. And then that way, if I didn't prepare something the night before, save for lunch, I could just grab a package of ground turkey out of the freezer and grab a couple corn tortillas and then just get my vegetable. Usually it was cabbage, and I had tacos, and it took me like 2 minutes to get my lunch ready. And so it really helped cut down the time. Also, what I like to do is get like the rotisserie chicken from the stores in the deli, and I would get that, and I would just, you know, take it apart, shred it, and same thing, I would put in my red container, I would measure it, and then I would freeze it. So that way it was always on hand. Like even for dinner, like if I didn't want to sit there and like put a whole lot of time into cooking, all I had to do was pull something out of the freezer, pull out the meat that I had in the freezer packaged and ready to go, and I can make something really quick in like 15 minutes. Also, another time-saving tip is to pre-cut your vegetables, like bell peppers, carrots, if you get whole carrots, different, cucumbers, whatever kind of vegetables that, you like. Have them cut up already so they're handy. So like, you need a green container for a snack. You can just measure it really quick. You don't have to sit there and cut it up and do all that, because that takes more time. So if you spend a little bit of time one day, it can save you a ton of time throughout the week. Also, hard-boiled eggs. If you do hard-boiled eggs, if you like them, boil a bunch of them and leave them in the fridge. They last for up to 5 days, I want to say. Don't quote me on that. I could be wrong. But you can hard boil a bunch of them and put them in the fridge, so that way they're ready if you need a protein. Same thing with quinoa, brown rice, oatmeal. Cook a large amount, and then you can put it into your yellow container and then put it in Ziploc bags, put it in the fridge. So that way it's easy to just grab it, like, okay, I know I'm gonna make this, and boom, you pull it out of the fridge. You don't even have to cook it. And so also stock up on like different fruits, like stuff that you don't have to really like maintain or anything, like getting bananas versus berries. Like if you're not allowed a lot of fruit, you don't want your fruit to go bad. And so, get like apples, oranges, bananas, stuff like that. So that way it's always handy, and you don't have to worry about it going bad right away. Those are my main tips that I have for the 21 Day Fix and the 21 Day Fix Extreme meal plan. If you follow the plan, you will see results. I promise you that. In the beginning, it will be more challenging and more time consuming. In the beginning, I would spend, like I said, like 15 minutes to try and get my plan ready for the next day. But now I know how many calories or how many containers I'm allowed, so I can get it done in like 5 minutes. I already know what I'm gonna have because I'm a pretty simple person, and so I'm pretty routine. And so I know where all my containers go for each meal, and so it's really easy for me now versus when I first started. So it's gonna be a little time consuming in the beginning, but I promise you it will be worth it if you stick through it. So I'm really excited that you're gonna be part of this challenge group. And if you have any questions at all, feel free to post in the group. Feel free to message me if you have any kind of questions, concerns, or you're not sure about a certain food. I know when I first started, I had tons and tons of questions. I mean, I would like message my coach like every single day. I'm not even kidding. And so I know there's going to be a lot of questions. Don't be shy. There's no stupid question. I want to help you succeed. So please reach out to me if you're not sure about the meal plan or the workouts or anything. Just reach out to me. I look forward to you all being in the group, and I can't wait to get started. Have an awesome day, everybody.